Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining me today as I go through the types of journaling that I do. And the reason I wanted to do this video is because I do think that I've done a lot of reviews about what has worked for me and what hasn't, but I just wanted to take it back a step and talk about what are my needs. What are my journaling needs, and why is it that I do have these journals or life books or planners to fulfill those needs? So the first need that I have is the need to be mindful and the need to have organization, I guess. And so that's why the first type of journaling that I do is bullet journaling. And how bullet journaling helps with that is mainly through its rapid log feature. And the way that the rapid logs work is that each day as it comes, whenever you're doing something, for me, for example, if I'm doing something else, if I'm working and I have these thoughts or ideas that take my attention away from what I'm currently doing, I have my bullet journal to write down those thoughts and capture them as quickly as I can. I don't need to think about where they need to go to. I don't need to think about categorizing these thoughts. I just write them down. And the beauty about the bullet journal is that you have bullets and signifiers to at a glance you can tell what type of entry you just made. So you've got your task, like, oh, this is something I need to do, not right now. I can't do that right now because you're doing something else, but later you'd want to do it, so you're going to write it down. And then things like a funny memory that a funny moment that just happened that you want to capture forever. And it's just having a notebook just to write things down is really a good practice to have. And I also use it to plan out the things that I would want to do. And yeah, I just think the bullet journal is genius. And I think there's a lot of misconception about what it is. Some people treat it like a DIY planner. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think sometimes the beauty of the bullet journal is often missed. And it is a mindfulness practice designed as a productivity system, and that is so true. So yeah, I want to talk more about the bullet journal maybe in another video, but that is one of the reasons why I like to bullet journal, and I like to rapid log mostly, and why it is that in September I did come back to the bullet journal system as a whole. So I'm planning on when I finish this notebook in October, I want to do a setup with you guys of my October bullet journal about how I incorporate the index, how I use that, the future log, the monthly overview, all the features, purely bullet journal method style. So that's how I use the bullet journal. There's a plane outside. Can you guys hear it? It's right there. Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention about it, the bujo, is that it helps you also be productive, not because you're planning in advance, but rather it focuses on the doing rather than being stuck in your head, which is a huge problem for me. And so that's why I love you. Okay, so the second thing that my second need is that I am very forgetful, so I want to have a life book where I can look back on the important events and days of my life and the moments as well. And so as you can guess, it is memory keeping. The second type of journaling that I like to do is memory keeping. And so far, I've been doing it for a while. I've been doing it in my Hobonichi weeks. I would do it in this way, where I would do a highlight of each day, or note down what I did for that day in a very summarized and shortened manner. but I realized that I wanted a little bit more space to write more about the day. And so I went into my Hobonichi cousin. If you're interested about, what process led me here, I talk about it in my previous video. So yeah, so I'll do a quick flip through of my September pages. The way that I've been using the Hobonichi cousin dailies have been like this. I'll do quick highlights of the day, and then I'll also write in detail about events that had happened that I just want to remember how it was that I was feeling. And I think the pictures add that extra touch, because a picture says 1,000 words or paints 1,000 words or something like that, and it's so true. It just brings me back to that moment, and I'm glad that I've got space to add those pictures in. And so unfortunately I may not be going through with this for 2022, even though I already bought the planner. So I already bought the cousin for 2022, but I'll talk about that in another video. I'm planning to do a plans about 2022 video very soon. I just wanted to get this one out of the way so we have a foundation. There's another plane. So those were my pages of memory keeping. I think you don't have to memory keep as extensively as this, but if you do want to get into the habit of journaling, memory keeping is the best place to start. Even if you just write down 1 or 2 things that made today different from yesterday, it's a great practice. It really has helped trained me personally to continue looking for the better things in life. And so if you're interested in that, memory keeping is the best place to start. And then the other type of journaling, well, my third need is the need to kind of talk to someone. I have a lot of thoughts, I have a lot of random ideas, blah blah blah, and the bullet journal does a fantastic job in capturing those very quickly while I'm doing something else. But when it comes at nighttime or in the morning, I want to keep talking about it and I'm still ruminating about these things. Stream of consciousness journaling is what I like to do. So I need a place to just write it out, because my friends are not that available sometimes, and my partner isn't either. And so for a way to just get it all out, I'm not hearing anyone's opinions, I'm literally just dumping it all on paper. That's what the stream of consciousness journal is for. And I also refer to these as my morning pages, but more so recently I've been just journaling any time of the day. I've been doing morning pages for the longest time. I think I started at the end of May, and I was really consistent with it, but I also wanted to do it at night or in the afternoon, and so I have this little notebook to do that with. I think if you're the type to need to process emotions, process thoughts, do some problem solving, try stream of consciousness journaling. You might find that you just arrive at a conclusion when you just write it out. That's usually what happens to me when I just write it out. I have this problem, I don't know how to solve it, and then for some reason as I write, I come up with ideas on how to solve it, and it just fixes itself. And I find that it's also another great way to unlock creativity, and I think that's what Julia Cameron, the creator of the morning pages, created the morning pages for, is so that you can overcome your artist block, is what she calls it. And I find that I'm most creative when I am writing in these pages, my mind just takes me places. And sometimes there's nothing I want to write, and so when that happens, I don't really force myself to write. I just write when I need to write. So that is my stream of consciousness journaling. And so yeah, so these are my main journaling styles, things I journal about or something. But I I keep saying do. I keep doing, I do other things with my life books as well that is not just journaling, and that's mainly tracking and learning. And so actually, before I get there, there is one more type of journaling that I want to talk about, but I haven't really done it yet. I'm planning to do it in 2022, so I'll talk about that in my 2022 plan video when that comes up. C'est la vie. Okay, so back to the tracking. The reason, so it fulfills my fourth need. My fourth need, well, actually it goes back to my first need, which is the need to be mindful. And so tracking brings self-awareness for me. So in order to just be more mindful about the things I do, I track them. I'm not explaining this very well, but pretty much what I do track are things like the weather, the things I eat, how my mood is feeling, what my mood is, my energy, my productivity, my sleep, my screen time, highlights, gratitude, wins, everything is on here. And it's a really great way to just look back daily and be like, how did I actually live today? And when you do that, well, when I've started doing it, I don't feel like, well, I feel more conscious about my autopilot mode, and I can start to see certain habits that I didn't notice before, and perhaps I need to address that and maybe implement some ways to steer that into a better direction. So sometimes, I've noticed that I may tend to overeat at a certain time, or there are certain times where I am playing when I should be working, and just things like that, and certain things in the morning that I observe about my body. Yeah, so it's just a great way to be grounded and to actually live life and acknowledge that you've lived life in that way. So that's why I like to track. And there's also another type of tracking that is more commonly done, which is, habit tracking, or whatever type of tracking you call this. It does not work for me. I keep trying to do it because everyone does it, and it looks so great in their spreads. But for me, it doesn't give me anything. Like, yeah. I much prefer logging things in rather than checking things off. I did make a video about this that I'll link here somewhere. But yeah, I just, much prefer that. And, nothing's wrong with this. It's just, I just feel about it. And it's fine. It's completely fine. Again, not saying that anything is wrong or one way is better than the other. It's just talking about myself because it's my video. So yeah, so that was tracking. And then the final thing that I like to do is learning, and that fulfills the need to, well, I guess it's a need on its own, really. So I watch a lot of videos, I listen to a lot of podcasts, I sometimes read articles and self-help, self-development type things, and I don't just want to consume, I actually want to write it all down as well, which is why we've got our commonplace notebook, or a commonplace journal. And in here, I use the bullet journal feature of indexing and threading. And so what that means is that I can organize non-sequential notes easier. So I have a lot of different things that I like to take notes on, and sometimes they're not next to each other. And how I overcome that is, yeah, using the index and using this color coding system that I just came up with. And it's just such a good way to write down notes about whatever it is that I'm consuming. And like, it's also, it lessens the friction of writing, because I'm not sure about you guys, but for me, I always thinking about what category should this go into, or like where should this go, what's the proper place it'll go to. Whereas with this, similar to the bullet journal, you just open to a new page, you just write it down, and then you kind of categorize it, which is the beauty of this whole bullet journal system. I just really love it. So yeah, there's that. I haven't written much, as you can see, but I think that's the beauty of a blank notebook, is that I can just fill it out whenever I want. There's no dates, which is great for things like these. But yeah, so that's my commonplace notebook, and yeah, I'm happy that it is blank, so I can just grow with this. I just keep writing whenever I need to, and the B6 size is also great because it's not so small, but it's not so big that I can just carry it around if I want to. I hope that was enlightening. I did have a lot more journaling type things to talk about, but some of them are not quite ready yet. Like, I haven't actually tried it, so I'm gonna talk about that in my, again, plans for 2022 video. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I am quite curious to hear about what you guys like to journal for, or like what type of journaling or planning you do like to do. I didn't actually talk much about planning, but maybe I'll do that now. The only type of planning that I do is this thing. In my bullet journal, I've got the monthly overview. I don't juggle a lot of things in my life. I am a uni student in my final semester, and I work. I don't have a family. I just have a boyfriend, my sister. And so I don't have kids to worry about or anything, or any other extracurricular things I gotta worry about. So I don't plan that much. I don't have any like side hustles or anything like that, so I don't plan. My most yeah, I just use the monthly overview to write down events, tasks I need to do on a certain date, things when things are due. I think that's the extent of my planning. And then, you know, I have my future log to write down future events or future tasks that I do want to do. As I said before, I don't set these up in advance, so I don't have any place to put these aside from the future log. So yeah, I hope that was all right. I think that's it. I hope you guys have a good time, and I am curious about what you guys do to journal and plan. All right, until I see you in the next video. Bye.